This could all go horribly wrong at any minute.
Hello and welcome to the 245th edition of Louis Black's Rantcast, entitled Louis of Arabia. That's right. I'm going with that title. I know that there are people out there going, well, it's not cultural appropriation. No, it's the appropriation of a movie. And if you've not seen it, it's, at least as far as I'm concerned, until somebody, probably, I guess hundreds will write in. If no one is going to write in, I can't imagine. But, I really love that movie. And one of the first ones where I thought, wow, it's extraordinary what this can do. And it was when, when they say movies were movies, and it was truly epic. This was truly epic. And so was the trip, really, in its own way. As epic as what a trip can be when you're traveling with other people and you're not really in Arabia, you're in Morocco. And the only reason I called it Louis of Arabia is because if you saw, there was a picture taken me. I had a camel. I was on a camel taking a ride in the Sahara. That's right, the Sahara Desert. So I did feel a kinship to Lawrence of Arabia, and with no comprehension of the language I was listening to, but Morocco is a strange and wondrous and extraordinary place. And would I recommend people go there? For me, it was really a great trip. Anytime I can get out of this country and go somewhere else where I don't speak the language, so that for 12 days I got away from what is serious fucking madness, to try to get a step back from it and be able to look at it again and go, enough is fucking enough, is to get the energy for it. I don't know how people do it on a daily basis, because for the first time in my life, I've had to get the fuck out and look for oxygen, because it is all being sucked out of the room by idiots. And I just sit there and watch, and I've returned, and I'm like stunned, but we'll talk about that next week. So I thought I would just relate some of the joy I had over there, and the wonder, and the fact that I'm going to just repeat it again. I do it all the time. I've said this 100 times. Nothing beats being in another country where you do not speak the language. So a ton of stuff of horrific proportions could have been happening there, and I wouldn't have noticed. Because the just the traffic alone was a distraction. Being on a camel was a distraction. The desert was like stunning, and the night sky like I've not seen in forever. And once again, I'll go back. Would I recommend people go? You need a guide. You have to have somebody there along the way who can take you through it. There are places you can go, which certainly you'll be able to function on your own. But if you want to go into the Medina, or if you shop in the souks, their marketplace, especially in Marrakesh and Fez, you're going to need help, because there are windy alleys and, turns and twists. And, there's all of these shops that look exactly the same. You are just not going to be able to do it. And it is astonishing that they can do it. But I guess, you live there long enough. A GPS won't help. Okay. Well, I'll take my GPS. Doesn't help there. Isn't that good for a change? For some of you, you'll have to be without your phone. We were on the bus a lot, so we were able to get some, we were driving mile after mile after mile, so people could stay in touch with the lunacy at home. I'm mostly worried about my football team, my two fantasy football teams, as we drove through the desert. And while I, am just, Morocco to me is, in essence, the only thing I can compare it to at all is Arizona in terms of the fact that it is a desert, but if Arizona had a soul, okay, that would be Morocco, because Morocco's got a soul, and it really is quite something. And but the problem is you're gonna, if you're gonna tour, I would say you go just to Marrakesh, and you could kind of get a sense of it. But I would say missing out on Fez is you really shouldn't, and missing out on the desert you shouldn't. But and so it's, and you're going to have to, in doing a tour, you're going to have to go as I did with my friends, with other people, and that leaves you open for assholes, and there were some assholes, and it's just some, not, but that's all you need. All you need is one, and there were I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12, 14, 16 on the trip, and a really wonderful guide, and they did a really great job. But you can't overcome from time to time, in the midst of, running away from assholes, running into the person who was the reason you left the country that has a number of assholes in it, to escape that country, to end up still, and there's the reason I left. And that's not to say it was, the asshole. It was not on politics, just on what a number of us are incapable of. You travel with Americans, or you run into Americans on the road. A lot of the time, they don't get it, and even I think myself, I've been guilty of not being a great visitor from time to time. But I may not have been a great visitor, but I wasn't appalling, and it really is. You just want to get out of the country in order to not. You're surrounded by people. They're not speaking your language. It's just like music. It's like music because there are no assholes anywhere, except that the couple that are on your tour. But I also should say that the group, all in all, outside of the, were very nice, and a pleasure to be around. Good company. But you're always going to pay a price when you do a tour. So what can I say? That's it. They're just none around. They're just none, because you don't know what they're saying. You don't pick up. If there's a newspaper, I didn't see one. And if it was, it would be in Arabic, and they speak 3 versions of it there, I believe. Berber and the classical Arabic, and there was something else, and of course I've forgotten it because I'm a great visitor, and I absorb things like a sponge. But like a sponge, after a few days in the country back home, the sponge that I am gets squeezed, and so these things pour out of me into the tub, and then down the drain. But the culture there is what you're reminded of, but certainly I was reminded is that that the Moors or the Moroccans, that was the center of an empire up until the 13th century, when the Spanish took it over, and for 13th, 14th century, the 1300s, I guess, is when the Spanish in the 1400s, they took it back, but they took it, and it was this extraordinary culture. So that in 837, and I believe I got that right, because I was like, what? The first university in the world, was established in Morocco, in Fez, I believe, and it was and it has gone on till this day. And they brought someone into at the dinner in Fez to talk to us about. It was a woman, and who basically was teaching women's studies there, and talked to us about what it is like to be a woman there, and what they have to deal with. And the fact is that the Quran does not in any way, shape, or form mention that a woman should dress the way they should dress. What's the word I'm looking for? That the woman should never dress provocatively, or even just provocative, or just that there none of this, the veil, all of that stuff, that the woman should be covered from the tippy top to the tippy toe. No, not in the Quran, not in it, according to her. And that it was really a religious book that kind of pushed for the right of women, and that there is still polygamy there. See Utah, but there's a real there was some sultan married to like 567 wives. I don't know, it was the sultan of the sultan's son or something, but I don't even know. When you've got more than that can be dealt with one a day for a year, I think you've got to say, no, this is way too much. So the Quran permits polygamy, specifically one man polygamy is what they put it, is with multiple wives, but set strict conditions, primarily focusing on justice and fairness, especially concerning orphans and widows, as seen in Surah and Nisa, which states a man can marry up to 4 wives if he can treat them justly. But if he fears injustice, he should marry only one, leading many scholars to view monogamy as the ideal and polygamy as a limited provision for specific societal needs, etc. And so you have it. And now if you want to, there's essentially you could there's polygamy is still there, but if you wanted to take a second wife, you have to go to court and prove in Morocco that there is a reason for this, and that you will treat her the same as you do the other wife, and that and divorce is now allowed, which is really a step in the right direction. And so there you have it. It's very good in the sense of as they kind of come closer to what we consider to be, at least outside of Utah, to be normal. But it seems to be, at least according to our tour guide, becoming something of the past, and especially the 537 wives, which is way, 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 way past. But and God knows how many children, and grandchildren, et cetera, et cetera. But also in Fez was getting back to something more important, was what they call a fossil factory, which we thought, well, they're making fossils there. That's bizarre. But in that area, it had been underwater for so long that there was a ton of nautilus and fossils, and the fossils of squid, or what were similar to squid, and they had the piece after piece after piece of this that they brought in from the desert from the mountains that are out there, and they're this just incredible array of that they polished, and so you have this array of these spectacular looking fossils, which we generally see as kind of in a piece of what looks like mud that has been solidified over time, and there in the bottom of it is is something that we're looking at and seeing the outline of something. These were just because they polished them down and created kind of an industry of a factory of these gifts in a way. And I could have done my next 10 Christmases there if you're looking. But all in all, it went on to the desert, which was really, as I said, the stars and the sky and the heavens really opened up on a level I'd not seen. And then onto Merrick, we went to a film studio that is out in Morocco. I didn't want to dwell on that. I was so angry that I had to go to a film studio. It was like, no, I'm here to get away from this. But they'd done a number of our films there, and it works because it's cheaper because they can do a scene and then rearrange the scene again. They in the States with the unions and so that people can make a living. They do a set, and if they want to do then they destroy the set. In many instances, and here and there, they just kind of rearrange things, and so they don't have to do it again, and they don't have a big union problem, as I guess, whereas they would call it. I don't see unions as a problem. So in terms of the money being put in, they would call it a union problem. So don't write in. I don't want to hear it's nonsense. And and then on to Marrakesh, which was just an incredible end of the journey. And once again, through the marketplace to see extraordinary rugs. I mean, in Turkey, the rugs were pretty exceptional, but here it was really unbelievable. And once again, found myself going, but really, should I? What? Maybe, I'm not sure. And the bargaining. If you like to bargain, Morocco is heaven. I don't get it. Just tell me the price. Please, just tell me. Don't make me. Well, what do you think? And then I would say the price, and then they'd go, "You're crazy." And then our guide would come over and go, "Nope, that's the price." And so I got a few things in the marketplace because of that. But it was not easy. And then they're going, well, if you don't get it today, you're not going to get this done. So it was like, well, until my dog until Sammy learns not to eat the carpet, it ain't happening. I'm losing one now. And if I had known, I never would have gotten a new carpet. I would have waited. But, what are you going to do? And obviously he enjoys eating puffballs, or at least sucking on them. So that's a bit of, I digress. It was really going through there was quite something. And their olives are beyond belief. And I said, how come you don't have them here in the States? And they said, because we use them all. We ate at a vineyard. I am not allowed to. I couldn't drink at that point so I was a little peeved. I had a sip or two, and it was great. Great wine. I mean, it was established, created by the French, who had been it had been running Morocco for a while, and then they were thrown out. They were left of their own accord, and the wine was really quite good, and at least at that vineyard, and so as was the lunch. And speaking of the food there, it went from the spectacular to the sublime to, are you kidding me? I can't do this. I cannot eat this. It just is not going to work. They had an Italian restaurant that was, not good. Just not good. And every so often it would just be, because they created a lot of the stuff, not the Italian, but their dishes came in a thing called tagines, which are these clay. You've seen them. It's kind of these clay pots, but covered, and with almost kind of a chimney, a small, and really some of that was just off the charts. A lot of chicken, a lot of lamb, a lot of beef, pot roast. Not my favorite. Nope, not going to happen. Nope, no, get it away, please. Please, just take it away. There's nothing you can do with that. And so I'll stick with the lamb and then and some fish. It was all right. But all in all, when there were a few of the places, and this is where I leave you, is that you look and there's a door, and we're wandering through the Medina. We're wandering through the souks where the stores are. We're just to the beginning of it, through alleyways, and come upon a guy who's carrying a torch and who's about 6'7", and he leads us to the restaurant. And the door opens, and all of a sudden, you've been through this area that looks like, well, what could be here? It's kind of a little bleak and dark, and then the door opens, and you go, holy fuck, wow, this is astonishing. As I said to some of the folks, who were wondering whether they should eat the restaurant, I said, even if you don't like the food, you will be thrilled to be eating it in that space. And those spaces were really spectacular. Their tile work is extraordinary. Much of the tile reflects flowers for them too in their tile, because it's a very short season being in the desert for flowers, and so it's reflected in the tiles, just beyond belief. Really, I've just got to say that is reason enough. You walk to these places, the door opens, and it looks like, well, what's going to be behind there? What's going to be behind there is going to be mind-boggling, because they have a true sense of style and design. I learned a great deal. It was well worth the time. And I was glad to be gone for 12 days. As much as I would have, if I could have stayed out of here longer, because it appeared they're much like when I watch a football game and go, my team's getting its ass kicked, or basketball, anybody I'm rooting for. And I'm watching, they just aren't doing what they should be doing. Much like that, when I left here and things just seemed to be going, people were weeping and gnashing their teeth, and you're just going, wow, is this ever going to end? Then I get over there, and every so often something would flash through on the phone, and I'd go, holy fuck. Things seem to be turning a little. But we'll be talking about that. As Sammy barks in the background, it says, get the fuck out of here, Lou. It's time to move on. And so I am. I want to thank you for joining me again. I think you'll enjoy these rants. I came home to read a bunch, and there'll be more coming your way. Get them out to me, and I'll get them back out to you. And thank you for the privilege. Thank you for the privilege and the pleasure of spending time with you. It does mean the world to me, and I will be on The Daily Show. If you're listening to this on Wednesday, the day this comes out, I'll be on The Daily Show that night. Well, boy, talk about double joy. I don't know what I'll be talking about yet, but, I think it'll be good. I like this. They really have been nailing it, the staff, and so I look forward to it. And then jingle bells, jingle all the fucking way. Okay. Take care. I want to thank Laura Briggs for this one. And always a pleasure to hear from the folks in Canada, our neighbors. You ever look at Canada's justice system and think, are we bad at this? Let's talk about Peter Nygard. This man, this leopard print Dracula, spent 5 decades assaulting women and trafficking girls. The FBI raided his offices. Class action lawsuits piled up like IKEA boxes. Winnipeg cops had his name in connection with sexual assault as far back as 1968. And what did we do? Nothing. We let him keep playing fashion mogul while he built a sex dungeon in his Toronto headquarters. 50 years. Finally, in 2023, we convict him of sexual assault. In 2024, we sentence him to 11 years. 11. The man is 83. That's not prison. That's assisted living with bars. He'll do puzzles, complain about the food, and die before serving half of it. And the stats? They make me want to eat drywall. Average time served for sexual assault? Around 4 years. Conviction rate? 12%. That's it. One of the lowest in the developed world. Meanwhile, break into a house, you'll likely do longer time than for raping a woman. In bail, in Ontario and BC, accused pedophiles are out on bail the same day. Same day! No ankle monitors, no real restrictions, but God forbid you're poor and miss a court date, then you're rotting in remand while your public defender still hasn't read your file. And don't tell me this is just Canada. Trump is facing 88 felony charges, still holding rallies like it's QVC for fascists, and his poll numbers keep going up. Well, not really. Laura, I'll point that out, and he's not holding as many rallies. But if Peter Nygard had just slapped "Make Fashion Great Again" on a ball cap, he'd be hosting a town hall on Fox right now. And Prince Andrew, the man pays off his accuser, hides behind the palace gates, swears he can't sweat, and his family's big punishment was, no more fancy uniforms for you, Andy. I get harsher consequences for putting the wrong thing in the blue bin. When rich predators get caught, it's not justice, it's PR. Meanwhile, we censor art. We bulldoze current art in Montreal because it made a mayor uncomfortable before the '76 Olympics. We confiscated queer art at the border in the '90s. We hauled down nude Ganesha statues in Edmonton because a handful of people clutched their pearls. But a billionaire running an international sex trafficking operation? Oh, well, we wouldn't want to push due process. And now we've got Mark Carney, Canada's wannabe prime minister, standing there with all the warmth of a hedge fund, saying Canadians need to make sacrifices. Huh, buddy? Canadians already living on Kraft dinner and a prayer. Bring back the jesters. Put someone in Parliament with bells who can walk up to Carney and say, hey, Mark, which organ are we selling this year to afford groceries? Asking for 40 million friends. Because here's the truth. We don't punish the powerful. We let them stall. We let them settle. We let them run out the clock. Trump, Prince Andrew, Peter Nygard. Different accents, same damn system. Rich predators get lawyers. Poor people get jail time. Huh? And if you're still not angry, remember this. Trump will probably campaign for president from a golf course. Andrew is still hiding behind mummy's corgis. Nygard, even after 50 years of accusations, will likely die rich in a cell nicer than your kid's dorm room. That's not justice. That's a reward program for monsters. We've let it happen. Smiling, polite, quiet, because that's Canada's brand. Well, guess what? Your brand is garbage if it lets predators live like kings while their victims live like ghosts. So, no, we're not polite or complicit. And I'm done being polite about it. Well, I don't know if you gave those offstage directions to me, or they were for you, or for me to understand how you were feeling, but I hope I did you justice, Laura. I just got this, so I'm wondering, Prince Andrew has finally been slapped. It certainly took long enough. Trump is really having some problems here. I mean, more every day. So I don't know if you wrote this and then just sent it in, but you should know that everything you said rang true. He doesn't have 88 felony charges anymore because they threw him out because he's what? Well, he's the president. So we'll see what happens. But I really appreciate it. It's always interesting to get that view from Canada because we have, well, at least I do, that you guys seem to be on top of it more than us, and makes me feel a little better that, we're not the only ones swimming in our own stupidity. Thank you for that, Laura. From Anton K, let's take a listen. I was watching the Weather Network, or as you called them previously on the White Album, that bunch of assholes, and this got me thinking about the term severe weather. That sounds depressing. Why not call it an extreme weather event instead? Sounds more positive. We've got an extreme weather event coming up. Woohoo! Holy shit, where can I get a pair of seats for that? Death Valley is on fire. Great! Let me get some drinks, a recliner, and just watch nature at work. Global warming is not some random concept created, controlled, and manipulated by the Democrats, despite what Orange Hitler insists. And speaking of questionable nut jobs in suits, our Prime Minister, Mark Carney, has decided to spend money buying oil from the UAE, costing the country at least $50 billion. We will get more temporary foreign workers to operate our once proudly Canadian chains, such as Tim Hortons, while folks are unemployed. Hey, thank you, Anton. Bill Krieger. I'm 69 and I'm pissed. Toothpaste. You not only made the tube smaller, you put less in it. Now I have to roll it up halfway before any paste comes out. I tell my wife, oh, look, honey, here's our $2 worth of air. Raisin brand, a skinnier, shorter box with a baggie of cereal in the bottom of the box, maybe 2 servings. And last but not least, Chips Ahoy cookies. My favorite for 50 years. So I bought a package the other day at the supermarket, and that night as my wife was washing up for bed, I usually head for the garage to partake in a little hippie lettuce, anticipating my snack of Chips Ahoy in a few minutes. As I open the package, motherfucker! They did it again. The cookies are smaller and thinner, and now I have to eat a complete row to get any satisfaction. The bastards did it again. Now there is only 2 servings again. 1 row of cookies a night. Oh, boy. Thank you, Bill. Thank you very much. I can understand that. Nothing better than a chocolate chip. I don't know about the Chips Ahoy, but whatever makes your boat happy. This one comes from the Chump Felon. I don't believe that's his name. That'll show you just how on top of my game I am. But it's, Mr. Black, I'm a fucking chump. See if I ever turn myself in and plead guilty to a felony ever again. Huh? New rules established. Section 18.3.2.1 of the Law of War Manual uses firing on shipwrecks as a fucking example of what's illegal. What the fuck are we even talking about? Huh? Honesty and integrity? Kiss my dick. This is America. We don't do that shit anymore. Fuck all of you. The ones doing and allowing it. Shame on us. Oh, and by the way, hey, spin doctors, it's cocaine that comes from Venezuela, not fentanyl. At least make your fucking lies believable. All right. Mr. Chump Felon, well put, well said, and right to the point. And it's, it's like, how many times do they have to repeat that fentanyl doesn't come from Venezuela? I mean, how many times? And at what point do they kind of maybe say, could we maybe see a little proof that the boats that we're blowing up are, we're tracking them because we saw somebody put some drugs on those boats? I mean, really, we go from not doing anything to blowing boats up. And in between, really, and basically both ends, one is criminal and the other is kind of criminal because somebody's taking some bribe. The whole thing is madness. Just madness. Continued madness. Thanks for pointing it out, Mr. Felon. It really is your name. Michael Knight. Here we go. He's a little peeved, just a touch. ChatGPT is a sycophant. Why would I talk to real people when I can talk to someone who thinks everything I say is interesting? And quote, unquote, very funny. Maybe it's time for us to learn a thing or two from ChatGPT before it goes rogue and starts building the Matrix. We'll see. We're moving into a whole new realm. We really are. We got ourselves, the computer didn't deal with what that would mean, and then the internet didn't deal with what that would mean, and now, artificial intelligence. And the guy, I'll repeat it 100 times. They should have it on and said, yeah, just a wrote, flip. The guy who goes before Congress and says, the guy who helped invent this fucking thing, says, hey, we're going to need some help because this can get out of control very quickly. And it has. So thanks, Michael, for pointing out problem 1246 with ChatGPT. Just do this from Terry Sykes. He's got a few words to share. And before I start, Terry, I didn't go to Portugal. I went to Morocco, but no really reason you should know that. But I've been to Portugal on one of these Thanksgiving trips, so it applies as much as going to Morocco during this Thanksgiving trip. And here we go. Hello, Louis. I hope you enjoyed your Portugal trip away from the madness of Thanksgiving and the Black Friday mobs. Hey, is that the real reason you left? So no one could prosecute you for the lines to buy big screen TVs? Have you heard the Black Friday reference before? Oh, probably not, as you were a senior citizen. And you have forgotten that this piggy fest of consumerism happens every year after the tryptophan wears off. I don't know if the following qualifies as a rant, but it sure reinforces my belief that this country has gotten fucking insane, more than usual. As I was not trying to search for this kind of information, some certain serpent algorithm on YouTube presented me with a bizarre post called Berna Banana Commercial. Is this shit for real? Berna is the company hawking their bright orange mini ball stun gun pistol for your protection. The Berna weapon is only slightly more dangerous than paintball pellets, but at least you have on protective gear beforehand. In all seriousness, I thought the Berna banana pistol was a joke, but it was released by the Berna company itself, and I doubt these people are paragons of parody, humor, or irony. Like so many others, I enjoy a good banana while strolling through a park or going to an ATM. Will I stand out as some sort of kook holding a banana pistol as I go about my day? No. As I mentioned, there are people eating bananas in public everywhere. I just can't believe the Berna banana commercial is real. But if you type it in search on YouTube, there it is. If there's any doubt as to this gun's safety, buy your kid an orange pistol or banana weapon for Christmas. Maybe as a stocking stuffer. Fun for all ages. And be sure to thank Santa as you rush to the emergency room. God bless us, everyone. No, I know. I remember Black Friday. It isn't the reason I leave, Jared. I know Black Friday. I may be a senior citizen, but fuck, don't tell me. I know it. How do you not know it? It's Black Friday 10 days before it's Black Friday, and then it's Cyber Monday and another 12 Black Fridays after, even though it's a Tuesday. Oh, yeah, I know it. I know it well. Don't senior citizen my ass. Even though I'm a senior citizen, it's another fucking thing. Generation this, generation baby boomers, Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z, Gen whatever. Fuck, okay? But thank you for that, Terry. And I will check out the Burner Banana commercial. God. Who knew? A banana stun gun. From Roz Rujan. She said in two, I'm going to read the second rant, because you really nail it there, I think, and kind of encompasses your first one. And does it well. So thank you, Roz. Being a lady rock drummer, apparently some men still do not want women to invade their sacred, pathetic, sorry-ass rock and roll space. You may not have heard of this band, Rush. I've seen them live at Summerfest. But after 5 years of grieving, their departed male drummer decided to reunite with a female drummer. And this has dudes losing their fucking minds. Of course, I'm ecstatic. But these clowns can't get over a woman supposedly taking over their territory. But this is huge, not only for women everywhere, but for these dumb guys as well, because maybe some women will show up at the shows as well. Look, guys, so stupid. Get over yourselves and stop worrying that your manhood can't take the fact that this woman, Annika, is going to send this band into the stratosphere. If they got some other dumb guy to join it, it would have been more boring because he never would have played the songs correctly since he fucked them all up and not respect their legacy. Is with a woman, she will respect it. Bunch of fucking clowns. You're the best, thanks. Oh, you're the best, Roz. Sincerely, it says, Wizard of Roz Rujan. Thank you, Roz Rujan. You're the best. I repeat it. You're the best, and make a very good point there. And I love that drummer was something. He was a hell of a drummer. He was one of the reasons they were as famous as they were, Rush, from Canada. Thanks to all of you for listening to my Rantcast. If you have a rant you want to get off your chest, send it in to me at lewisblack.com/live. You can think of it as therapy, or whatever you want to think of it as. Just let it rip. And I want to thank the true stars of our show, the ranters, and the splendid rants they gave us. Lewis Black's Rantcast was created and hosted by me. Aha, Lewis Black. Our live rant audio was produced by James Salter. Our theme song by Chris Lane. Executive producer, Ben Brewer. Executive producers, Matt Kleinschmidt and Robert Kelly.